What's going on, everybody? Here we are back with our Week 16 NFL Pick'em video. So far on the year, we are 154 and 69, going 9 and 7 last week. We've been on an absolute heater all season long. The picks have been fire. I can't believe it's already Week 16. We've got 3 weeks left of the regular season. The playoff push is here. This is what we've all been waiting for the entire NFL season. This week, we're rocking the Todd Gurley throwback jersey, so hope you guys all like that. This is a Falcons Todd Gurley jersey. Kind of a rare find there, so hope you guys appreciate that one. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into our Week 16 NFL picks. Starting off, we had Thursday Night Football. This video is going to be coming out on Friday, so Thursday Night Football was yesterday. We picked the Rams to win. I'm sure you guys all watched it. Seahawks beat the Rams 38-37 with a 2-point conversion in overtime. It was a heck of a game to watch. Pretty disappointed the Rams didn't win. Personally, I think there was quite a few calls, specifically that illegal man downfield call early in the game that kind of swung it towards the Seahawks' favor. Either way, Seahawks got the win, and we are 0 for 1 to start the week, but we're going to get back on track. We got some Saturday Night Football this week with the Packers going to Chicago to play the Bears in a very important divisional matchup for both teams. If you guys are new, I am a Green Bay Packers fan, diehard, born and raised in Wisconsin, so it's pretty dang tough for me to pick against my Packers. I'll just say that before we start. As I just mentioned, huge game for both teams. The Packers won 28-21 2 weeks ago when these two teams played, and since then a lot of things have changed. The Packers have been devastated by injuries, headlined by Micah Parsons with his torn ACL. Additionally, Zach Tom, starting right tackle, is out. Christian Watson looks like he's not going to be playing on Sunday. Quay Walker, our starting linebacker, is also out, as well as a couple other really important injuries. So the Packers have a totally different outlook for the rest of the season than we did just a week ago. Going into this matchup, I think the Packers are really going to need to see some guys step up with Micah Parsons being out. Christian Watson likely out for this game. Zach Tom likely out for this game. So definitely going to need to see some guys step up. I would love to see Matthew Golden personally take a step up. Jordan Love's going to just have to keep playing great football. He's been doing it all season long, especially the second half of this season. I want to see Josh Jacobs get healthy and step up. Packers had a good amount of success against the Bears defense when they played just a couple weeks ago. I do think the Packers offense has a chance to have a lot of success here again on Saturday in a game that's probably going to be a little bit more higher scoring than it was just a couple weeks ago due to those injuries on the Packers defense. Going to have to probably score a few more points to win this one. For the Bears, they continue to play pretty dang good. They absolutely annihilated the Browns last week. And the last time these two teams played, the Bears really leaned on the run game, as they've been doing a lot over the second half of the season. It did work out pretty well for the Bears, although they had 0 runs over 15 yards. So it was really just kind of grinding the chains along. And for the most part, that works, but it wasn't enough to get them past the Packers just a couple of weeks ago. I do expect the Bears to lean on the run again in this game, but the passing windows are going to be opened up as they're going to have a little bit more time to throw with no Micah Parsons this week. So interesting. I'm interested to see what Ben Johnson's game plan is this week against a Micah Parsons list. Green Bay Packers. It's in Soldier Field. The Packers are injured. The Bears are favored, but I'm picking the Packers. Go Pack, go. Next up, we got the Eagles at the Commanders. Just starting off with the Eagles, they're playing pretty good football. It's just still not quite as good as I would expect them to be playing. I think this is a game where they should have a lot of success, especially offensively, going up against a Commanders defense that's really bad. Arguably one of the worst defenses in the league. Not even arguably. They are one of the worst defenses in the league. So I think they will have a lot of success, the Eagles, offensively in this one. For the Commanders, they're sitting Jaden Daniels for the remainder of the season. They're shutting him down with that elbow dislocation that happened in the middle of the season. I think that's the right choice. You're going to go get a draft pick this season. You're kind of fighting for draft position at this point, so might as well start Mariota. Get Jaden Daniels ready to start in 2026. But the Commanders are really just struggling in all aspects of the game. I think one bright spot for them is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Last week looked really good. They finally gave him a little bit of a higher snap count than they have in the past, and I think they should continue to do that. I don't think he's great, but I do think he's definitely better than Chris Rodriguez and is the best running back in that backfield. In this game, we're picking the Eagles. I think they win this one easily. They are on the road. The Eagles can be inconsistent at times, but I don't think this game's one that we got to think about too hard. We're picking the Eagles. Next up, we got the Buccaneers at the Panthers in a crucial game for the NFC South. Both these teams are kind of falling off here in the second half of the season. Some bright spots, some low spots, but they both have a chance for a home playoff game. And this matchup right here in Week 16 is of paramount importance. I believe they do play again in Week 18, and that one is also going to be very important. But whoever gets the win on Sunday is going to have the leg up going down the stretch here in this season. Starting off with the Panthers offense, they're just a very one-dimensional team that really leans on the run. And as long as Bryce Young is the quarterback in Carolina, that's just going to be the reality. He has some games where he looks pretty good, throwing for over 400 yards against, I believe, against the Rams, if it was earlier this season. So he does have some bright spots, but overall, I just don't think Bryce Young's that great of a quarterback. And the difficulty of being so one-dimensional with the run game is if Carolina gets behind early, it's very difficult for them to come back in games. The Buccaneers have a pretty good defense, a respectable run defense. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad, but they're going to be able to do enough to slow down Rico Dowdle that I think Bryce Young's going to have to make some plays today. Going up against a Buccaneers offense that is getting healthier and better as the season continues. Mike Evans looked really great in his return last week, having a huge game, looking just like the Mike Evans that we all know and love. Bucky Irving getting healthier and more involved in this offense, I think, is a huge aspect of their success as well. But the difficult thing for this Buccaneers offense is Baker Mayfield just continues to struggle. He's been really inaccurate the second half of the season. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but he's throwing uncatchable balls at a very high clip, and that's just not okay. I mean, when you've got Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, those Kate Otten, even those guys are good receivers. Just put it in the vicinity and let him go make a play. But he's just not doing that right now, which is really causing some issues for the Buccaneers. And if he doesn't fix that, they're going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs if they make it. And I believe they will make it, starting with a win over the Panthers on Sunday. I've got the Buccaneers beating the Panthers on the road. Next up, we got the Jets at the Saints. And, these are games that I hate to predict in week 16, 17, 18. The picks have been fire all season long. And then we get to these games where we got to look past just the guys on the field. We got to look to the ownership. We got to look to the coaching staff. We got to figure out what the motivation is to win the game. And in this game, I do think that both teams have some incentive to lose. The Saints were a top three. They had a top three pick just a couple weeks ago, and now they're playing themselves into a position where they might be picking 10th, 11th even. I know they win a bunch of tiebreakers, or I should say lose a bunch of tiebreakers in the draft. So the Saints definitely have some incentive to lose. For the Jets, I just don't know why these guys would not want to go out and win. I think the majority of this coaching staff won't be back next year. So that's one really important thing to remember is I think everyone on the field is really going to be giving it their all. But we do have to recognize the motivations behind these bottom feeder teams at the end of the season. With that out of the way, starting with the Jets offense, Brady Cook will be QB1 again this week, and he did not look good at all last week. I think one thing is it's just difficult for college quarterbacks to make the jump to the NFL. It's a totally different ball game. In college, the hash marks are wider. That creates more space on the wide side of the field, which leads to a lot of screen passes, short horizontal passes. And in the NFL, hash marks are 18 yards apart. So it's not a huge difference. The ball has to be driven downfield, and Brady Cook just was not able to do that last week. The offense has been the offense has been bad all year and has been getting worse as of late. And the Jets defense definitely is not that great at this point either. The one thing that the Jets really love to do is lean on that run game, and they're going up against the Saints, who actually have a pretty respectable run defense. So I do think the Jets are going to have some struggles offensively in this one. For the Saints, Tyler Shuck is improving. He looks better than I expected. They beat the Panthers last week and really did well. on defense against a strong Carolina running game, so I could see that transfer over again this week. With the things in mind that I mentioned earlier about incentives to lose, the players want to win, and the Saints have the better players on the field, and I do think that the Saints will get the win at home on Sunday. Next up, we got the Chargers at the Cowboys, and this one is one I'm really excited for. Actually, I think it's kind of a coin flip game. It's a difficult one to project, and the Cowboys aren't eliminated statistically, but they're very very close. They're going to keep fighting with everything they've got to the end of the season. That's just Jerry Jones' mindset. He's not going to go out and lose games for better draft picks. Let's start off with the Cowboys offense. It's been absolutely electric all season long. We all know that. George Pickens has been a key addition to them this year. CeeDee Lamb's also playing really well. But the headline is Dak Prescott playing some of the best football of his career. He's been absolutely unstoppable this season. And Javonte Williams has had kind of a resurgence as well this year, coming off that torn ACL 2 years removed. So he's looked really good as well this season. And the one thing that the Cowboys really love to do is drive the ball down the field with those downfield passes past the sticks. And I think something really important in this matchup is the Chargers are really, really good at defending against those passes. They have the number one PFF coverage grade in the NFL against throws beyond the sticks. So it's going to be a little tougher this week for the Cowboys to drive the ball down the field. Jumping over to the Chargers offense, since O'Marion Hampton has come back, they've looked like a much better balanced football team. I do think some of that has to do with Herbert's injury to his hand, left hand, not his throwing hand. So it kind of forces them to lean on the run game maybe a little bit more than they would like to. With that injury to Herbert's hand, it's definitely affecting his ability to play quarterback right now. Even just throwing the ball, you do throw the ball with one hand, obviously, but you use both hands when you're playing quarterback to grip the ball, to spin the ball, to get ready for that throw, and it's definitely affecting his ability to drive the ball downfield. And obviously Herbert is not running as much as he was early in the season, trying to protect himself. The Chargers offensive line is really, really struggling. I do worry about their ability to run the ball in this game going up against a Cowboys defensive line that's been really, really good since the addition of Quinnen Williams. However, the Cowboys defense is very, very beatable through the air, and I do think that the Chargers can have some success doing that. If Herbert's feeling much better this week, I feel really confident picking the Chargers in this one. But even if he's the same guy who we've seen the last couple of weeks, I still got the Chargers. They are actually the underdogs in this game, going on the road to play the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium, and we are picking the Chargers to get the road upset. Next up, we got the Bills at the Browns. Not like we really need to get into this game too much. We're picking the Bills. They're coming off a big win over the Patriots last week. Browns coming off a blowout loss against the Bears. Bills win this one easily. They're a far better football team and are looking really good down the stretch. I think they have a real chance to make a run in the AFC in the playoffs this year. Next up, we got the Chiefs at the Titans. And you can see him on the screen there. Patrick Mahomes is out for the remainder of the year with a torn ACL and LCL in his knee. Such a bummer. We hate to see those injuries to anybody, but especially the faces of the league. Chiefs fans, I feel ya. The Packers' best player, Micah Parsons, just went down with an ACL as well last week. It's an absolute bummer. He's not our quarterback, but he's the leader of the defense. So for the Chiefs, that is going to be detrimental. They are eliminated for the rest of the season. Gardner Minshew will be stepping in for quarterback for the Chiefs. Feels like every single year we get to see Gardner Minshew at some point down the stretch in the season. Typically not playing for a very good team or one that's competing. Here he is again playing for a team that's not competing for a playoff spot, but we're going to get to see some Minshew magic again in these final 3 weeks. I think it's hard to say what's going to happen in this game because both teams are eliminated. You just never know what the motivations are. I do think the Titans are going to be maybe more motivated to win than the than the Chiefs. So I do think that maybe if anyone's wanting to win more, it might be the Titans, just because they're trying to work on a young rookie quarterback. They're trying to develop him, and they really want to play their best football every single week, and they are getting better for sure. And I'm not saying that the Chiefs don't have any motivation to win for their own pride. They're going to want to be out there and win, but I do think the Titans are going to be hungry in this one with a chance to beat a really good football team that's just not playing well and is missing their best player. In this matchup, I'm worried about the Chiefs' offense. With Gardner Minshew in at quarterback, we just got word that Rashee Rice will not be playing on Sunday, and the lack of a Chiefs running game, I think, is going to cause some offensive struggles for them, especially going up against this Titans run defense that's actually been playing pretty good as of late. Um, the Titans are getting better, the Chiefs are getting worse, but I am picking the Chiefs to get the win on the road against the Titans. I trust Steve Spagnuolo and that defense to dial up something that's going to cause some issues for Cam Ward. So we're picking the Chiefs defense to carry them to the win in this one. But if you need to steal a pick on everybody else, pick the Titans in this one. I'm serious. If you guys are down a few picks to the leader in your pick'em group, absolutely pick the Titans in this game because the public is really favoring the Chiefs. Vegas has it, I believe, at a 3-point line, and this is definitely a winnable game for the Titans. But we are picking the Chiefs because I do believe they will win, but there is a real chance that they don't. Next up, we got the Vikings at the Giants, and we've talked a lot about motivations and incentives to win in this video, and in this game, I do see two teams that are very motivated to win. They both have young rookie quarterbacks, or excuse me, JJ McCarthy's a second-year quarterback, but this is basically his rookie season, being out all of last year. So these are two developing quarterbacks on teams that are struggling but have some potential. So I do think both these teams are going to be really fighting, trying to go out there and win the game. Giants do have the number one overall pick right now. That's something to note, but the coaching staff is not going to be around to use that number one pick. So there's no point in those guys going out there and just punting this game away and just losing for that number one pick. So I do think the Giants are going to be plenty motivated to win. Coaching staff is all fighting for a job on a new team next season. Starting with the Giants offense, they've run the ball pretty decently the last couple of weeks, especially with Tyrone Tracy, and Devin Singletary's been a good compliment to him over the last few weeks. I don't really know how much running we're going to see from Jackson Dart down the stretch. I would love if the coaching staff would tell him, hey, let's hang out in the pocket a little bit more. Let's try to throw the ball downfield a little bit more. It might lead to some turnovers. You might see some windows to run, but we want you to throw the ball. I think that's the best way to develop him in these last 3 weeks and just games that don't matter. And it gives him a chance to really just try to drive the ball down the field. And going up against a good defense in this one, it's going to be difficult for him. Going over to the Vikings offense, JJ McCarthy's played his best 2 games of the season in the last 2 weeks. If you followed along, you'd know I'm a huge JJ McCarthy hater. I think Nine's a bad quarterback, man. I just don't think he's an NFL QB. I said it before he was drafted. I said it especially hard once he was drafted to our rival, Green Bay Packers rival, the Minnesota Vikings. But he's played a couple decent weeks as of late. I still don't think he looks all that good, but he does look better. In this game, the Vikings defensive unit is just by far the best unit on the field in this one. So we're going to pick the Vikings on the backs of their defense to get the win. I could also see some success in the Vikings run game going up against a Giants run defense that's been bottom 5 over the last 4 weeks. You'd think Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, the other fellows that they've got over there, they'd be a pretty good team against the run and especially with the pass rush, but they just have not been good as of late. So I could see some success running the ball for the Vikings. We're picking the Vikings to get the road win against the New York Giants. Next up, we got the Bengals at the Dolphins. 2 very different stories here. The Dolphins are a team that is eliminated. They're a team that has a grim future, and the Bengals are still fighting. Actually, I think the Bengals might also be eliminated. I'm not positive about that. They're pretty much out of it, but they're still fighting for every win that they can get. Tua Tagovailoa is benched for the guy you can see on the screen there, Quinn Ewers. Really, really interesting decision. So Tua is guaranteed right around like $50 million next season. So who knows what's going to happen with that? I don't think this is a decision you can make without ownership approval. If you're going to bench Tua, you're kind of telling him and the rest of this franchise that he will not be the quarterback of the future, potentially even not next year. So I don't know what's going to happen with them if they just ride his contract out on the bench and tank next year or what their plan is there. But this seems like a team that is kind of tanking, and it's really hard to pick teams that are tanking, especially in a matchup where I just think the Bengals are the better football team. They got absolutely smoked against the Ravens last week, but Bengals still have a really good offense. T. Higgins is out this week. It's going to be down to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Chase Brown to go out there and put up some points. We're picking the Bengals to get the win in this one. I just don't really trust Quinn Ewers. I don't trust the Dolphins right now. I don't trust the Bengals defense whatsoever, but I just don't think they've got that difficult of a matchup going up against the Dolphins led by Quinn Ewers. So we are picking the Bengals in this one. Next up, we got the Jaguars at the Broncos in a really exciting AFC game. I think if we talked about this game in week 1 or week 2, we would not have been, saying this is going to be one of the most important games down the stretch for seeding in the AFC and for these teams to really be making a run at a potential AFC championship. You never know. Both these teams are teams that could be there. They're both playing really good as of late. And let's start off with the Jaguars offense and Trevor Lawrence, who's playing really good as of late. I think he's playing the best football of his career right now. And in this game, he's going to have to step up and play. He's going up against a Broncos defense that is absolutely elite. Hard to throw against for sure. So we're definitely going to need to see Trevor Lawrence best in this one if they're going to go out there and get a win. The Jaguars' offensive line has been playing really well all season, but especially as of late, which is going to be really important going up against a Broncos pass rush that is really tough to stop. Jaguars' offense is looking good as of late. Jumping over to the Broncos offense, Bo Nix and that Broncos offense looked really good against my Green Bay Packers last week. I think it was his best performance of the season, which just sucked to see against my team. I do think the Packers' injuries really did play a factor in that game, so I discount that just a little bit. He did have 4 turnover-worthy throws last week, so that is absolutely something that he can't do against this Jaguars team that has been great at forcing turnovers all season long. I do worry about the Broncos offense just a little bit in this one. Jaguars defense has been really, really good. The one thing that I also worry about is the inconsistencies that we've seen from the Jaguars offense all season. As of late, they've been consistent and really good, but you never know when that team's just going to fall back to what I kind of think is more their normal. I think they're playing above their normal right now, and that's why I'm going to be picking the Broncos to get the home win over the Jaguars in a really big game. Next up, we got the Falcons at the Cardinals, and this game is featuring, you can see them on the screen, 2 veteran quarterbacks who are fighting for their future in the NFL. Kirk Cousins versus Jacoby Brissett. They both want to play in the future, and they're going to have to continue to play well over the next couple of weeks if they want to do so. Starting off with the Cardinals offense, run game has been absolutely non-existent really all season long, but especially really since Trey Benson went out, just absolutely non-existent. Jacoby Brissett's been throwing the ball 40 plus times a game, and he's been peppering Michael Wilson and Trey McBride, who've been playing really, really well. Specifically, lots and lots of short passes to those guys, which I actually think bodes well in this game against a Falcons defense that really loves to get after the passer and would love for guys to hold the ball. The Cardinals offense definitely could have some success through the air in this one. I don't think they're going to blow things out of the water, but I could see their short pass game have some success in this one. I do still think they're going to be very limited offensively due to the lack of a run game, however. For the Falcons offense, Kirk Cousins had an absolutely vintage performance last week. I definitely don't expect him to keep balling like that. It was cool to see. I don't expect it to continue. However, the Falcons are the team in this matchup with a good run game to supplement the quarterback. I think this game's a total coin flip for me. Kind of a cop-out, but the Falcons are favored. I'm trusting Vegas. It's coin flip for me. I don't know who to pick, so we're going with the Falcons to get the win because they are the favorite. Next up, we got the Steelers at the Lions, and both these teams are fighting for a playoff spot and seeding. Lions are currently 8th in the NFC, so they need every win that they can get down the stretch. Steelers have control of their division. Their destiny is in their own hands. Starting off with the Lions offense, I just don't think they've been what we all really hoped for and expected out of this Lions offense all season. The Ben Johnson departure is clearly affecting them. Halfway through the season, Dan Campbell took over play calling. I think it's been better since then, but still not great. But they're still electric at times. This offense is still really, really good. They've got a bunch of awesome playmakers. Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Obviously, Laporta is out for the remainder of the year. And Jared Goff hasn't been playing quite as well as we all maybe expect him to, but he's still playing all right. Going over to the Steelers offense, they just lack the weapons. DK Metcalf is the only real weapon here for the Steelers, and it just really limits things. Pretty much every week when I'm watching the Steelers, their running backs between Gainwell and Warren are like the second and third leading receivers for this team. And that's just not a recipe for success, especially going up against this Lions defense that is the number one graded team in the NFL at covering running backs out of the backfield in the passing game. So they're going to have to figure out something different in this week to have some success. I'm picking the Lions here to get a good win in a game where they just match up really well against the Steelers. I think the Lions are a really fast offense and the Steelers are a slow defense. I think the Lions defense matches up good against the Steelers offense. Rodgers has picked apart the Lions his entire career, but I don't think it's going to happen in this one. Lions get the win at Ford Field at home. Next up, we got the Raiders at the Texans, and really the story of this game is how different these two teams are. The Texans have been playing really, really good football as of late, and the Raiders seem to have gotten worse as the season's gone on. Story of this game also is going to be how bad the Raiders' offensive line does against the Texans' defensive line and pass rush. Don't see them having really any success in this game. This is not a game that we really need to get into too much. The Texans are going to win this game as they continue to play better and the Raiders continue to play worse. It's going to be a really, really easy, very boring, likely low scoring. I could see this game being like 20-10 or something like that, 23-10. But the Texans are going to get the win in this one. Next up, we got the Patriots at the Ravens. And in this game, I am shocked that the Patriots are underdogs in this one. Yes, they are coming off the loss against the Bills, but I thought they played really good football. They had a chance to win it all the way down to the stretch. I thought they had it locked up early when they were up big on the Bills, but they just kind of let them come back. So I'm surprised to hear that the Ravens are 3-point favorites. Let's start off with the Patriots offense. Travion Henderson is coming alive in the second half of the season. He looks really good, and he's opening up the explosive run game for the team, for the Patriots, that they've just lacked with Ramondre Stevenson back there. The rest of this offense, led by Drake May, looks really good as well. One really interesting thing to note is Stephon Diggs has actually had a decline in snap share over the last 3 weeks, and he is healthy, and Matt Collins is definitely increasing his snap share. I think he's playing like mid 80s on percentage of snaps, and Stephon Diggs is under 50% at this point. So really interesting that they're kind of leaning on Matt Collins more than they are on Stephon Diggs at this point. I know Hollins has a lot of assets. He's a good run blocker, so that's definitely one reason to use him. The Ravens defense played really well last week. They shut out Joe Burrow and the Bengals, which is really interesting because they just gave up 31 points to them just 2 weeks earlier. The Ravens offense, though, definitely continues to struggle. They just don't look like what we all expected them to. I think the one thing that is going to be really tough for them in this game is they're going to struggle to run the ball. The Ravens love to run power and counter plays. That's what they do. That's their identity. Derrick Henry is a power running back. They just get him downfield, hope that he can build up some speed and move the chains. And they're going up against the Patriots, who are really, really good against defending against the power run plays. Robert Spillane in the middle of that defense is an absolutely great tackler. So with those things in mind, I've got the Patriots getting the upset here. I think they match up really, really well against the Ravens. I can see the Patriots having some success running the ball and some success stopping the run against the Ravens. So we're picking the Patriots to get the road upset against the Ravens. Last up, we've got Monday Night Football. We got the 49ers at the Phillip Rivers Colts. Let's start off with the Colts offense and Phillip Rivers. He definitely surprised some people last week. He didn't put up any crazy numbers, but he didn't have to. He put the Colts in a position to win the game last week. They fell short, but Phillip Rivers did what he needed to do. He threw an interception on the last play of the game for their offense. So, take that out of the box score. It was taking a shot with seconds on the clock left. So Phillip Rivers is playing as good as I think we could all hope for. And the Colts are just going to need to run the ball well if they want a chance to win this game. Fortunately for them, they're going up against a 49ers run defense that's pretty weak. I could see the Colts having some success running the ball. When the Colts run for over 100 rushing yards, excuse me, when the Colts have run for less than 100 rushing yards, they've only won one game, and that was against the Las Vegas Raiders. So it's obviously important for the Colts to be able to run the ball, keep the ball, not have negative plays, and they have a chance to run the ball successfully against the 49ers in this one. For the 49ers offense, or just the 49ers as a whole, they've won 4 games in a row by 2 scores or more. Mind you, that's been against the Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, and Titans. So 4 teams that I really don't consider to be very good. Um, 49ers offense did look pretty good last week. Brock Purdy looked great. He moved the ball at will. And in this game, I've got the 49ers. I think they're the better football team. I just believe that this team is motivated. They're kind of being slept on, honestly, on the NFC right now. They're not in the conversation for the NFC West, so they're not being talked about a lot. So I think they're going to be coming out with a fire this week. And I've got the 49ers getting the road win in Indianapolis on Monday night. If you guys have made it this far, thank you so much. I put a ton of work into these videos, and I don't even know if anybody's watching at this point. So if you are, comment down below. I would love to know if you made it all the way through the video. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so, and it goes a long way in helping me grow the channel. That is just an infant this year. This is a brand new channel this year. We've been doing the pick videos all season long, and we've been on an absolute heater. So, with that in mind, don't fade the picks. Good luck.